Before we begin, a necessary note. This story is based on true events regarding power of attorney abuse. It is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. It is a standard document signed on a Tuesday afternoon in a kitchen that smells of tea. Power of attorney. Those 4 words grant another person total control over your money, your property, and your future. It is a complete legal surrender, built entirely on the assumption that family will honor your trust. Dorothy Simmons had lived in the same house in Savannah, Georgia for 44 years. By 2018, she was 81 years old, moving a bit slower, tending to her garden, and living a life she had built over decades. Her daughter, Anne, lived 7 hours away in Richmond, Virginia. She was a high school principal who visited several times a year and called every Sunday morning, the steady, rhythmic architecture of a family bond maintained across state lines. When Dorothy began showing early signs of cognitive decline, the family met to plan. They decided her son, Raymond, who lived just 20 minutes away, was the logical choice to handle her finances. He was nearby, he was practical, and he was family. Raymond signed the documents and accepted a fiduciary duty. This is a strict, legally binding obligation to act only in his mother's financial interest, never his own. He signed the paperwork acknowledging this responsibility. But the family made a common mistake. They substituted blind trust for documented oversight, unknowingly creating a vacuum where exploitation could hide in plain sight. The theft began quietly. Raymond used his legal authority to move small amounts from Dorothy's savings into his own accounts. He labeled them household expenses or medical costs, labels that bank security systems accepted because the person making them held the power of attorney. Then he escalated.
Raymond used his mother's signature to refinance her house, a home she had owned free and clear for 40 years. He was extracting the equity she had spent a lifetime building. He pulled $180,000 in cash out of the house and moved it into his personal checking account. Dorothy, whose memory was fading, had no idea her home was being used as a private bank for her son. Over 4 years, the total loss reached $340,000. Raymond spent it on a boat, a vacation home in Florida, and his daughter's wedding, all while managing his own mounting personal debts with his mother's retirement savings. Because the power of attorney was legally sound, this life-ruining theft was able to masquerade as routine financial management. On paper, everything looked authorized. The discovery happened in February 2022. On a Sunday call, Dorothy mentioned she was worried about her accounts. She said she had asked Raymond about the balance, and he told her she was just confused. When Anne called the bank, she hit a wall. Without legal standing, she couldn't see the statements or the transaction history. She realized that to protect her mother, she would have to hire a specialized elder law attorney. The attorney filed an emergency probate petition. This is a powerful legal maneuver used to formally assess a senior's capacity and, more importantly, to instantly sever an existing power of attorney if there is evidence of abuse. An emergency petition changes the power dynamic immediately. It can bypass a hostile family member and transfer financial authority to a neutral, court-appointed professional. Anne's attorney filed a civil suit demanding a full forensic accounting. Raymond was no longer talking to his sister. He was now legally required to justify every single dollar he had moved since 2018. The accounting left him with no defense. To avoid a trial and potential immediate criminal charges, Raymond was forced to liquidate his own life. He sold his home and emptied his own retirement accounts to begin repaying the estate. The civil settlement recovered $247,000 as a lump sum. The remaining $93,000 was placed into a structured repayment plan. The criminal consequences were just as final. Raymond pled guilty to financial exploitation of an elderly person. He received 3 years of probation and is permanently prohibited from ever serving as a power of attorney agent or guardian again. Family financial abuse is often treated as a private conflict, but silence rarely leads to recovery. In this story, the shift from a family conversation to a legal process provided the necessary leverage to force actual restitution. Dorothy Simmons is now 86. She still lives in her home in Savannah. Her finances are now managed by a professional guardian who files quarterly reports with the court, reports that are reviewed for accuracy and transparency. Anne now tells every family she meets that trust must be backed by 3 things: the right to see an accounting, the ability to petition the court for review, and the willingness to involve adult protective services if things don't add up. Dorothy may not fully understand what her son did, but Anne does. She knows that true peace doesn't come from blind trust. It comes from the accountability that her mother deserved all along.